In this Daily Drop, I'm going to be talking about the recently released short film, The Heist, which was created with generative AI using Google's VO2. So let's go. Okay, everybody, here we are. First official original episode of the Daily Drop for 2025. If you're watching this today, it is January 6th. The year's moving, and here we are talking about AI again. Every once in a while, I like to give you my thoughts on where we're going with generative AI, especially when it relates to video and production and post. And I thought that this particular short that was released about a week, 2 weeks ago from a company called Secret Level would be a good one to take a look at and then have a discussion about how I'm thinking about using AI potentially in the future and sort of my current thoughts on what's going on in that space. So let's go ahead and take a look at the short, The Heist, and then I'll come back and talk some more.
Well, looks like we got a new king of video.
All right, so a little bit of a, I've seen some pretty amazing things that have been created with Sora. I've dabbled a little bit into Runway, Midjourney. I have signed up for, now that it's public, Sora. I'm still waiting for my invite email. But this using VO2 or VEO2, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, from Google, really shows that Sora isn't just the only game in town when it comes to text-to-video generative AI. In fact, some of the side-by-sides I've seen on YouTube between the two, I'm definitely leaning towards currently VO2 in terms of a tool to use. And that's exactly what it is in my viewpoint. It's a tool. And in fact, if you take a look at that short again and again and again, and I've watched it a number of times, you will see that while it is remarkable how far generative AI has come even in the last 12 months, that there are still issues at hand. Now, Secret Level as a company, from what I can tell, is a company that was built by some people who have been in the industry for quite some time. They've actually created an updated commercial spot for Coca-Cola. So they're not just dabbling in generative AI, they're doing bigger projects for clients like Coca-Cola. That said, look at how many times when you watch The Heist, the wardrobe changes for the main character in the spot. But still pretty remarkable how consistent things are overall. Yes, there's one shot where seemingly our main character switches from the left side of the car to the right side of the car, as if they have been transported to the UK and are now in an old American vehicle, but it is built for, let's say, the British market. And again, just shot to shot, the wardrobe changes are happening pretty regularly. The character seems relatively consistent, though the more you watch it, you will see the inconsistencies. But what rings true to me right now is this is moving very, very fast. And at the moment, it's already getting to the point where this generative AI as a video-based tool is starting to be used in real-world production and post. Now, I'm going to link to the Coca-Cola spot in the description, and just below that, I'm going to link to a BTS, which I think is more than anything the most important thing to watch after this episode, because it really gives you a snapshot into, or an insight into, how much work the use of text to video generative AI really is in terms of realizing a final product that has consistency, continuity from shot to shot. So yeah, you get the basic idea. But I think that in my mind, we're going to start to see in the very near future a lot more short form content created with generative AI. And I think that probably the biggest takeaway from watching The Heist, more than anything else for me, is that this, are we calling it technology? We're calling it, these tools like Sora, like VO2, are going to be incredibly useful to us for previs or pre-visualization for our projects. Sure, I love to use an application like Set.a.light 3D to realize how a shoot's going to go in a particular space, but the sheer power that can come from tools like Sora and VO2 for us creatively to just visualize what a production or a project's going to be is pretty remarkable. It's still going to take a lot of work. It's still not going to be perfect, but for a previs tool, I think it's going to be pretty amazing. And in the next 12 months, just forget about it. It's going to be crazy what these tools are going to allow us to do. So pretty impressive overall from Secret Level. Jason Zada, who is, I think, the founder or co-founder of the company. And I'll link to their YouTube channel and also to their company website so you can find out a little bit more about what they're doing. Don't know anybody over there, never met them, never had any conversations, but it's inevitable that we're going to see more and more shops or studios or whatever you want to call them opening up that are using generative AI largely or exclusively in their productions. I think it's going to be a hybrid as we move forward, except for possibly for very short form content. And eventually, as the storyboarding tools get better, as the consistency and the continuity gets better overall, that these things are going to be used for things like animated shows. And eventually, we're going to be going to the movie theater and watching a movie that was created using generative AI. We're getting there. All right, don't forget to, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.